basement of La Penta. This is WICR.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Sports Vault. I'm your host with the most, Jersey Joe, back in studio for the final word of the day. It's been a pretty eventful day in sports, a lot of breaking news. Brandon Marshall to the New York Jets, Wesley Matthews out for the year, and of course, hitting us during the day, Syracuse, some major penalties. We all kind of understood. Syracuse, they banned themselves from the postseason in an attempt to kind of maybe smooth things over with the NCAA, and it does not seem like it worked because they got hammered with these penalties. And let's be honest, I mean, this was a good year for Syracuse to try that with their self-imposed postseason ban, because Syracuse is not that good this year. I mean, Christmas is not a bad player. He's played well, but I mean, for the most part, this Syracuse team really had no position to compete for anything, so it was a smart move, but it did not work. Jim Boeheim will be suspended for 9 conference games next season. The program will lose 12 scholarships over the next 4 years. Some of the other ones, I mean, 5 years of probation from March 6, 2015 to March 5th, 2020, vacation of all wins in which ineligible men's basketball students played in 2004, 2005, 2006, 06, 07, 2010 to 11, 2011 to 12, and ineligible football students, so not just basketball, but also football, fine of $500 per contest played by ineligible students. The school must return to NCAA all funds it has received to date. I mean, look, the list just goes on and on. I mean, it is pretty significant. The final one, additional self-imposed penalties, can be found in the public decision. I mean, that seems like they got just hammered. I mean, just totally destroyed. Those are pretty significant penalties, the losses of scholarship. And the thing you've got to look at, too, is this in the overall grand scheme. I mean, I think when we look at Miami, the way that investigation was handled, that cloud loomed over Miami so long that for potential recruits, why are they going to come to a place when there's these penalties that you know are coming? They're coming. You hear about them on SportsCenter and ESPN every day. That affects recruiting tremendously. And I think it's pretty clear this is going to hurt recruiting. Obviously, next season, Boeheim being suspended for 9 conference games, I mean, that's something you can live with. But, I mean, overall, this seems like a pretty big blow to Syracuse. I mean, that list right there, I can't even read them all to you because we would be here for a while, and you don't want that, and neither do I. But, I mean, it is just significant, and it kind of just continues to show you where college basketball, where college athletics are right now, because I got to be honest, folks, if you think that it's just happened at Syracuse, it's not. This is happening everywhere, and it brings the question up, when is this going to stop? And I don't know. I mean, there is no end in sight. It's not just college basketball, it's college football, it's everywhere. The level of competition, the rules the NCAA have, the corruption of the NCAA. I mean, let's go back to that Miami investigation. I mean, that was a travesty, the way that was handled. They were criminal in their way that they conducted their investigation of that. Mark Emmert, I just think the guy is a crook. I mean, I have to be rash here, but I mean, you just look at the way he has handled himself in the NCAA, and it's been an embarrassment. Now, again, does Syracuse, did they break the rules? I bet they did. I mean, I'm really not surprised by this at all. But the only thing is, it's not just Syracuse. Everybody in major college athletics is doing this type of thing. Some get caught, some do not. Syracuse did get caught, but I mean, man, you look at these penalties. These are significant. I mean, the 12 scholarships is big. That's going to last them a long time. The money they have to pay back, that's probably not as big. I mean, that's a major university. I don't think that will be. But, I mean, whenever you're dealing with scholarships for a major program, that's always something that is going to hurt you. And it really does. We've seen it so many times in college football, what these scholarships do to recruiting, because when you're a school like Syracuse and you have to compete now in the ACC with these top-tier programs, I mean, let's be honest, the ACC is just the cream of the crop right now. Kentucky is number one, far and above the rest, but But aside from Kentucky, you look at all the other best teams in the country. I mean, they're all coming from the ACC. Louisville, Virginia, Duke, North Carolina. They are stacked. And with Syracuse, they are nationally recognized powerhouse. Normally, they'd be able to be right in that conversation. Down this year, self-imposed ban. But you've got to kind of look ahead a little bit. And just, you've got to think, this is going to affect Syracuse. There's no way around it. Losing the scholarships is a big blow to that program. Like I said before, I don't think Boeheim as much. He was only going to be suspended the 9 games, but I mean, those next 4 years, you've got to kind of think Syracuse is going to be down a little bit because that is significant to any program losing that many scholarships. But these next 4 years, it is not good. But I just kind of, I initially took a glance at it. I just wanted to get my initial thoughts out there. I haven't read through the entire report, but I mean, it just always, whenever something like this comes out, we knew something was coming. We didn't know how severe it was going to be from the NCAA, but we knew something was coming. And I'm just never surprised because this is college athletics, and you're just naive if you don't think that this type of thing happens everywhere. It happens everywhere. I mean, I remember as a freshman coming on the radio and talking about the North Carolina scandal where basketball players were going to classes that didn't even exist. They're going to these classes, they're writing papers that are about 3 sentences each that don't even demonstrate a 3rd grade writing level. This is just the way things work in college athletics. Some get caught, some do not. Syracuse did get caught, and it is going to be a big blow. But that is just my initial thoughts on the subject, how to get them out there. I'm going to read it over more carefully, and if I see anything that's changed, certainly we'll be back next week on the air. But next week will be fun. We are moving into the NCAA tournament. I've restocked all of the NCAA jerseys, have a couple new ones that will be arriving. Excited about that. But this is just the final word of the weekend, moving into a tremendous sports weekend. Some very big soccer matches, very much excited for. But as always, everyone, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next Monday.